I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm on it.
Hey, Freak Show! You're going nowhere!
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
All right, kids and coaches, welcome back to another fun-filled episode, well, maybe, of West of Nowhere. I am Levi.
I'm Shane.
Yeah. And with us today is Chantel Stadler, the wife of our many guest appearance, Mark Stadler. So, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, you are also a nurse, but you aren't the same kind of nurse as Sir Mark is.
Right.
So what do you do in a brief kind of fashion?
Yeah, so I do labor, delivery, postpartum, and recovery. And then with that, I have extra certifications. So I do lactation consultant, like fetal monitoring for babies. And what else do I do? Like support care, doula stuff.
Nice. So. And how long have you been at in like the labor area?
I've been doing it for 4 years, and This is the only kind of nursing I've done. So I haven't done like surgery or floor nursing in, like the gross things, as gross things, I would say.
That's funny that you make that distinction between that not being as gross as some of the other things. I think there's a lot of people that would argue the opposite, but that's fine.
Yeah, the birth's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so she is here. She wanted to discuss the recent news about the Roe v. Wade getting overturned, and I thought it would be a fantastic viewpoint of having somebody who, works in labor and deals with, moms and babies pretty much all the time, and also Catholic upbringing, which I think is important to distinguish because a lot of people will just blanket cover, oh, you're religious, so you don't think this, or you do think this or this. So I'm glad to have you on here so we can talk about it and also get a lady's perspective because we haven't had one in a long time since Uncle Steve left. So
I'm excited to offer all those.
Heck yeah.
Guys. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we would like to thank our Patreon people. Shane has that list, I hope.
Yeah. We want to thank Adam Pacino, Tony Burgess, Sam Norton, Natalie Tacarante, Mark Stadler, our Master of Media, Kylie Gangwish, Colton Zammerza, and Jeremy Brazzers.
Yeah. And if you want to join them, description is the best place for the link tree. I don't know where it's going to be on the video this week. I haven't made that decision yet, but it's going to be on the screen somewhere, but most of the time it's in the description. So yeah. And then also we have like a billion comments. I mean, like maybe too many. I think we might have broke YouTube, honestly. Kylie broke YouTube, more importantly, but had a lot of comments about the or she had a long comment about the solar thing that we ended up talking about. She used to work for the utility company in her town, and so she made a comment about that, saying she worked as the in-between for customers at the utilities. She says, I can tell you that no one knows anything in factual terms, and it's a loss to invest in net metering with a utility company after the first year's solar rebates. You're paying for a green future and going the government ups the incentive rebate. So, you know what that means, obviously. Go solar and have your own battery banks. And we got Mr. Jixers back. Back again. Yeah. He loves the new intro and look, and agrees with Kyle that we should put links in the description. And I hear you, and I'm going to do that. I don't know how many useful links I'm going to have this week, because I feel like it's just going to be a lot of, talking and opinion style, but we will do that going forward. And he says, if someone doesn't follow what y'all talk about, and so, like, for the links, they get a better grasp of the content. Love y'all. And Shane, I don't miss your beard, so. The people have
No
spoken.
one asked you.
The people have spoken. And then it's just like a billion more Kylie comments. I am the king of bubble popping, as reference to your Viking DNA yesterday or last week, not yesterday.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then Russell says, "Hey Shane, get your history straight. Levi can't do all the work." And you know what? I think I can. If I'm being honest.
He's up for the challenge.
Yeah, I read a lot. Anyway, so continue to leave the comments. I mean, in 1 week that video has 40 views, which is it topped our previous one. So
Yeah.
click the YouTube buttons, subscribes and bells and all that jazz, and continue being awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now for something completely different. So, we, as a country, have decided that there's some crazy stuff in this last week. The Supreme Court kind of went on a tear on Friday, and I know that the Roe v. Wade is like the biggest thing, but real quick, they also got rid of protections for the Miranda rights people. So you can't sue if a cop doesn't say the Miranda rights to you. You can't sue them anymore. So that's fucking wild. But obviously the biggest thing is the Roe v. Wade, which gave protection for abortion in all of the states because it was federal. And I think that the biggest thing I've seen that people are like, the biggest non-morality argument that I've seen is people saying that it should be up to the states to decide. But that kind of puts a lot of people in those states in kind of a shitty spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at the map, and you can pull it up, the map of people who are like states that are probably going to get rid of it. And obviously, like, it's the whole South, and then, Wyoming and Montana and Idaho.
Midwest.
Yeah, not really surprised about those, but it's funny if you look at the map of the people who are going to get rid of abortion, and it's all highlighted in red, and then you look at a map of like the biggest lumps of like poor percentage people in like those states are all like real bad, and
Yeah.
so it's putting those people into like a really shitty spot to where, okay, yeah, it's legal in fucking New Jersey or whatever, but I live in South Louisiana. Like, how the fuck, man?
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the things like that people don't really consider is like, oh yeah, it's legal, just go to one of those states. So it's like, that's a very privileged thing to think, right? Like, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some companies that are saying, oh, we'll cover it, but like, are they gonna cover all of it, or are they gonna cover part of it? Are they just covering it because they don't want to pay maternity leave? Like,
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, Dick's Sporting Goods, the CEO put out that they will cover up to $4,000 for travel.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
cool.
I don't know like what all that, when they say travel, I don't know if that encompasses like if you got to stay somewhere or not, but
Yeah.
that is something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there's quite a few companies that are doing that. I think the other side of that is if you can get time off work,
yeah.
especially with how short-staffed everywhere is.
Yeah.
So
So Chantel, what I know you were kind of having a lot of, Mark said you're having a lot of thoughts about this.
I was processing.
Yeah. Is there anything specific that you wanted to bring up, or anything in reference
Yeah,
to?
I think it's well, for starters, like you had mentioned, like I born and raised Catholic, still an active, like practicing Catholic. So obviously like my faith is important to me, and it gives me kind of a unique perspective. For like first and foremost, I think that is like a part of my personality and part of who I am, but that doesn't necessarily mean like that's all that I encompass. You know what I mean?
Right.
So obviously like growing up, abortion in general was a very taboo topic. Like I was one of those kids in middle school and high school who was on the side of the road, like holding picket fences or whatever, you know what
Picket
I mean?
signs.
Picket,
Yeah.
fences,
I'm
not the
holding whole
fences. A whole
fences.
No, I mean a sign.
That kid's strong as
No,
shit. She's just holding up fences.
Oh my gosh. No, holding the signs up for like pro life. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that was my perspective growing up. And then obviously going through high school, middle school, college, and just like getting a better understanding of the world and how it works and the access that people have, not just to healthcare, but like women's rights in general. And then also just like labor and pregnancy and all those things is much more complicated than what my faith told me.
Right.
So I was able to really like do a lot of self-discovery. And so my perspectives changed on a lot of things, especially with just like the work that I do, not just like the cases I see specifically, but maybe stories I've heard from mentors or preceptors or from like other nursing labor and delivery groups. So these aren't just stories that like I've seen, but just stories I've heard too,
Right.
or other women, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, just a blanket statement, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's just kind of crazy to see that the biggest argument I'm seeing for the people who are like excited about Roe v. Wade being overturned are saying like save the babies and that,
Yeah.
you know, like life is of the utmost importance and like they want to, I don't know, like the murdering babies things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Those are the biggest arguments I'm
Yeah.
hearing. And I guess I just wanted to give like perspective to that, at least for our state where we're at in the Midwest. You know, there's access, I believe, to abortion up to about 20, 24 weeks for viability and everything.
Okay.
And so I don't know how much that's going to change. Like, I'm assuming that women will still have access to like terminate their pregnancies up till 20 weeks. But I think it's just important to look at why people are getting like late term abortions
Yeah.
after that time.
Yeah.
And it's not, yeah. And I think we talked about this maybe, or I talked to somebody
Oh,
about this a little bit.
probably.
How,
Yeah, I guess that's always the thing is that people who try to push this issue into like territory where it's not really even like remotely normally is like the extremes. They're like, oh, well, they're like the baby's one day away from being born and they're just killing it. Like, what the fuck,
right,
man?
right. And honestly, probably these like later term abortions are really more so for health reasons, either for the baby or for the mom. And
Right.
so just like examples of that, I guess, that I've seen or heard of or case studies I've read is, you know, like a baby is developing without a brain or say
Mhm.
without kidneys or without heart, like the chambers in their heart. And so most likely their chances of survival are very, very limited. You know,
Right.
like their chance of actually not being a stillbirth and being very traumatic for that mom to deliver is low, or their chance of living for more than a few weeks or days or having any experience besides just like procedures and surgeries in
Right.
their early life, you know. um so just what I've read and seen is a lot of these moms will choose then very difficultly like to choose to terminate their babies because they don't want them to have to suffer through, you know, stillbirth or procedures or all of these
Right.
really awful traumatic things. And I don't know, I guess like one specific case that I've read is where um a mom who like desperately wanted to be pregnant and be a mom and have this baby and struggled with infertility finally got her baby and everything looked good. And at the 20 weeks ultrasound, which is typically when you do it for like anatomy,
Okay.
found out that her baby has a brain stem, so can breathe and the heart will work, but no actual brain. So no like
Oh,
higher functioning or anything like that, which happens sometimes.
wild.
And then also no kidneys. And that's basically like a death sentence.
Right.
You know, like that kid won't survive. But since it was after the 20 weeks or at the 20-week appointment, she didn't have access to go get a late term abortion to like not have to suffer through that. And then also not for her baby to suffer through that.
Right.
And then also babies, usually their nerves start to develop and they can feel pain and other things around 20 weeks.
Okay.
So there's like that in there too. So I guess her knowing that her baby would suffer like physically, you know,
Right.
she decided to carry her baby to term and deliver her baby, even though that was like a very personal choice for her. so that she could then donate its organs to other babies,
Oh,
which is like
that's
a
pretty.
wonderful and
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Yeah. But also that's not like for everybody, you know, like
Right.
not everybody chooses to do that. And you still have to have a doctor and like a pediatrician and nurses and a hospital that can do that for you, that also will help you connect to the program who helps harvest those organs.
Right.
And like those programs are very difficult sometimes to get a hold of and to like be in contact with. I don't know. Anyways, very complicated case.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, thousands upon thousands of those. And I guess that's just kind of an example I wanted to use. Like, that's not everybody's choice,
Right.
you know, like that they shouldn't have to. What do I want to say? Like, that shouldn't be their only choice.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of my perspective. And like, I'm a mom and I have a 3-year-old and I'm pregnant.
Right.
And I'm 26 weeks. And so I guess just with this Roe v. Wade, it makes me think a lot of like what I would do in this situation. You know, like what if my baby had a terminal illness
Yeah.
or like genetic diseases that weren't compatible or would suffer. And I know what I would choose, but to assume that other women would choose the same as me, that's not
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah,
to
and
say the
then
least.
like just kind of forcing people into that, just like where they don't get to choose, and you have to like you have to carry this full term, or and I don't know how true this is, but I just saw a couple treatment or things that you would have to treat with an abortion. So
Right.
ectopic pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know what that is. What is that?
Ectopic is basically where the baby's growing not inside the womb,
Oh,
typically in the fallopian tubes. And so like that's something that I've worked with
yeah,
personally. Like my hospital can handle that and my doctors can handle that at the facility I work with. And so ectopic, basically like the baby is normal and healthy and genetically probably fine. It's just not growing in the right spot. And so
yeah.
then that baby will continue to grow until that space, the fallopian tube, will rupture. And
Ugh.
so then you're just, I mean,
Yeah,
you just bleed out
yeah,
at that point
yeah,
and you don't know it. And so you have to have surgery in order to like take care of that and remove it. And that's technically considered an abortion,
right.
even though it's also saving the mom from bleeding out like on
Yeah,
the street
yeah,
and not knowing it, you know, because unless you get a scan, you don't know that where your baby is growing.
right.
So yeah, ectopic pregnancy is one thing. Also, if your baby has died in the womb, we
Mm.
give medicines in order to help deliver baby.
Oh, okay.
Like if the mom chooses to do a vaginal delivery versus a surgical delivery.
Yeah,
So I'd be really curious to see how our state does with access to those medicines, even just for like routine miscarriages and stillbirths.
yeah, because they can be used for other things other than that. But like, are they
Right.
gonna go full on? Like, well, you can't use any of it. Like, yeah,
Right. Yeah. Like, is it going to be even harder to get access to the medicines to just treat people who have just like spontaneously lost their babies,
right.
not like induced? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Another
yeah, there's that.
one I saw was septic uterus, which I feel like I understand what that means just based off of those two words.
Mhm.
Doesn't sound pleasant at all. And then miscarriage that your body won't release is also treated with an abortion. And then so you get put into this spot where you're in states that are like hardcore, definitely not going to do anything, like Texas. Um, like there's just people just going to be in like having all of these medical issues, septic issues, and
Right.
like
Yeah. Because if
Well,
your body can't get rid of that tissue,
yeah,
it tries to absorb it. But it's kind of like if you had, I don't know, like something else in your body too that's foreign,
yeah,
your body's going to attack it and then you'll go septic. And then
yeah,
these women are going to get even more sick than if they just had early access treatment
yeah,
to take care of what they needed. And like, that's my biggest hang up really with all of this is that it's less access to women's healthcare just in general. Like
yeah,
we're already the number one first world country for highest maternal mortality and morbidity. So more women died during pregnancy and childbirth in the US than any other first world country, which is insane.
That
to
is
me.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have hospitals in towns that are like 800 people. You know what I mean? Versus other countries don't even have that.
Yeah.
And then highest death rates for Black women and for Latina women, because our treatment of them isn't as expanded as it should be.
Right.
Or, biases or
Yeah.
things like that as well also affect it. So it's just like frustrating to
Yeah.
see this, to say the least. And then we're the only first world country that doesn't offer maternity leaves, let alone paternity leaves.
Yeah.
Like
Like
Canada
a
offers
mandated
9 months
one.
at
Yeah.
least. Yeah, a paid
Yeah,
maternity
yeah.
leaves. Yep. Or anything. And we have the shortest amount of time that you can even spend at home with your babies. Like, so it's just frustrating to see. I mean, like in the UK, they have midwives, obviously. So they help deliver your baby, whether that's in a hospital or a birth center or a home birth. But then they also do postpartum visits too. So then they're checking in with these moms and these families and giving them access to resources that we don't even do here in the US. And usually they have like 10 to 12 visits at home versus the routine postpartum visits for a mom who delivers in America is only one. And that's at the doctor's office.
Oh, wow.
And it's really just to say like, hey, you're healed up good. You can have sex again. What birth control do you want?
Jeez.
So yeah, so that's just a little bit of like perspective, I guess, that, however people feel about Roe v. Wade is like a personal thing, but obviously it's not really personable anymore because one body is making a choice for access for an entire state or an entire nation, depending. And so it's like, that's fine, if that's where you stand on one side or the other, but we really need to be asking more so like, okay, well, what resources are we giving to families? Are they able to see their doctor? Do they have a doctor that fits well with them? Do they have like postpartum access to understand like what postpartum depression is and anxiety? Are their babies even able to eat because, like moms struggle with breastfeeding, but then we also have a formula supply shortage.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, fuck. I didn't even think about that.
There's so many other things that go down with it that impact just raising babies besides giving birth to them.
Yeah.
And that's where I get frustrated. And I don't know if other people do too, but
yeah. On that same thought process where you were saying that if they start to, will things be available to the people who get rid of, like who are the states to get rid of it? Well, wasn't it Texas that made it? They were trying to make it illegal even if you left the state. Even if you went to another state and got an abortion, if you came back, they were still going to arrest you.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you think do we think that's going to like go right back into full swing again? Because then everyone who lives in Texas, like for instance, if that's what they do, then you're going to like live in fear. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to go somewhere where it's legal and get an abortion. And then if I come back home and then some asshole across the street's mad at me and they tell me now I'm in jail for going somewhere where it's legal. But
Right.
Texas is like doing this like Nazi state thing.
Yeah. Which is wild because like they're always the first. Oh yeah, we're such a free state. You can't smoke weed, can't do anything fun, but god damn it, you can rat on your fucking neighbor for maybe getting abortion. Because honestly, you shouldn't know if they left. Like how that's the fucking weird thing is when it gets into those waters where because they had like a bounty program almost where it was like you get a reward for fucking like do it.
Toddling.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
That's crazy.
And
I was just gonna say I've seen people, like women in some of the groups that I follow, they track their cycles and stuff like that. And so they're like, okay, well, now I don't want to use this app to track my cycle because if I am pregnant and then all of a sudden I'm not, whether that's because it's like a spontaneous loss or an induced abortion, am I going to go to jail for that? And it's like, okay, well, you don't not take care of yourself and like track your own health and records, because it's just less access to healthcare and resources. And like you guys were saying too, like to travel out of state is so expensive and to get time off work and stuff. And it's like, that's fine. That's great that you can go to other states and maybe get this, but then what's going to be waiting for you when you come back? And are you even able to leave and go in the first place?
Right. Yeah. And I come back to it, but it's like it's such a like a class disparaging kind of thing, because you hear stories of, back in the 30s when abortions were like, doctors were getting arrested and sent to jail for doing them. Like, you
Mhm.
still hear the stories of, oh, the Republican congressman's son, or not son, daughter needed an abortion, and they got one because he knew a guy, and shit like that. It's like, okay, like, so you're not actually against it. You're just like in this weird power struggle where you think you need to speak for people who aren't speaking about it, like, and so they're shifting the responsibility, like, hey, it's the state's issue now. But I mean, sometimes shifting issues to the states is not always the best case. Like, I had like a whole
Right.
war about
Yeah.
it or something. But and it's weird because it's like, yeah, okay, we care about this baby getting born, but then, we have, I just saw a number the other day. I haven't double checked to see if it's true, but 450,000 kids in foster program. And then also there's no fucking resources for, even like, if you're under a certain, like, if you're in that weird gap where you don't qualify for Medicare, or is it Medicaid,
Mhm.
whatever the lower income one is, and then but you don't have health insurance, like, you gotta, give this baby up for adoption, but also
Right.
you're paying all of the medical bills, because, like,
Mhm.
why would anybody else take care of it? Because it's your baby.
Yeah.
There's no real good sex education in the schools, like, and
Mhm.
people are getting mad about when you can even fucking start it. So it's like, it's this weird system where, they want you could just do this or you could just do that, but then every step of the way those
Mhm.
things are kind of like chipped at and not even real viable
Right.
options for people.
They're not even, yeah, they're already broken systems. Like
Yeah,
to want to do foster care takes a special person. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because you don't know what you're bringing into your home. You also don't know necessarily when you're giving birth to a child what that person's going to be
right.
like growing up. But in general, like all these people who are saying like save the babies, like, okay, have you ever signed up for foster care? Have you ever
Yeah,
worked in like the slums or gone and done like into the projects and helped with in your community? Like,
yeah,
if you are super religious and you're in church every week, are you reaching out to the moms who are pregnant or single or divorced or newly had a baby? Because like my personal experience, like going back into the church after having one, having a miscarriage, and then two, having my firstborn daughter, like it was not super friendly and
really.
welcoming. And it was very lonely. And then even worse, like trying to draw close to my faith, it was very difficult because I felt like I had to present myself in a certain way as like this good Catholic mother who takes her children to church and they sit and they listen. And
Right.
obviously, my toddler's not like that. She's like throwing goldfish and she sticks at people.
Dude,
And then
literally
you get
no
like,
toddlers like that. It's
yeah,
so crazy.
yes. And then there wasn't even any access to um like a daycare style whatever at my church. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay, you want to raise these good Christian families, but how are you actually supporting them? You
yeah,
want to raise these families who birth their own babies or adopt or foster, but how are you supporting them? And you're not,
yeah,
like those programs just don't work.
yeah,
And even like you said, the finances of it to give birth to a baby, just the birth hospital bill
yeah,
without insurance, at least in our area, is 15,000 for
yeah,
a vaginal delivery,
uh,
and then 30,000 for a surgical delivery, and that's before insurances.
yeah,
Luckily, insurance covers most of it, but you have to have that set up even before you're pregnant,
yeah, yeah,
and insurance is very expensive. So
yeah,
that system also doesn't work super great.
yeah. It's definitely, I don't know. It's such a weird thing because, like, you get these people who get into, oh well, it's you're killing innocent babies. Like, I saw Pete Ricketts, good old Nebraska governor for a couple more months, um was like, oh, now we're, I'm glad that they overturned this because now we're protecting innocent lives. And it's like, bro, you, like, will not let people, like, smoke weed in your state. Like, you, like, help fund private prisons. Like, you don't care about lives being good. Like, you just want
Right.
to, I don't know, grandstand. It reminds me of, those billboards in the middle of nowhere where it's like, choose life. Your mom did or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
why are you saying this to an open field? Like what? Like oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so the typical like limit for abortion is 20 weeks, right? Like after that you can't, correct? And then
From what I understand.
Yeah.
okay, and then I tried to read some about this because I know very little about like how abortion works as far as like when they allow it, when they stopped it, and I've seen that viably, if you're born before 22 weeks, like your chances aren't very great. So
Yeah.
if we're doing it 2 weeks earlier than that, even, then I don't see how we're killing innocent lives.
Yeah.
It's not a being that could live on its own outside without extensive help, without draining parents or
Yeah.
people who are already trying to get an abortion, trying to get away from being poor. And if you got $30,000 in hospital bills, I
Yeah.
don't see you getting like.
And that's if
I
it
see you
goes
getting out of
well.
poverty.
If it goes
Yeah.
into fucking
Yeah,
like NICU or
If it
anything
goes
like
into
that.
the NICU, the neonatal intensive care is
Yeah.
like, I don't know what the exact number is, but I would imagine it's probably like 10,000 a day.
Yeah.
And most of those babies are there for 1 to 3 months, but then those babies who are born, say, right at viability 24 weeks to say 28 weeks, like they're in there for almost always a year, and
Yeah.
they have surgery after surgery after surgery, and it's
Yeah.
like you really have to start looking at what's the quality of life that
Yeah.
people are getting, and isn't there a dignity in dying too?
Yeah.
But also we don't do that for our elderly populations either. We
Right.
put them in a nursing home and we don't give them access to hospice care, and we limit their supply to like pain medicine that keeps them comfortable as they die. And like,
Right.
I don't know. That's where I'm at with it, at least, is like there's a dignity in dying as well. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I believe personally, like life begins at conception, and this is a baby and a person, but also like
What kind of life is
what's
that?
their quality?
Yeah.
What quality of life, and what resources do you give, and like where's their dignity? Or does it just matter that they have a heart and a brain?
Yeah.
And if it does, like we do a bad job of showing that.
Right.
You can't use old people as an example. Levi hates old people. Just saying.
That's
like,
true. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. One thing that I have seen like as an argument against it's an innocent life. You're murdering babe, blah blah blah. Like that whole spiel, like the government or the state, nobody can force you to donate an organ to anybody. Nobody can tell you, hey, you have to literally support this person with your own body parts at any point in time. So, but except for this one time, like it is one particular, and there's people who like boil it down to like, I mean, technically a child in your like body is a parasite because you're feeding it until it's born. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, that's a little weird, but I get it. I get what you're trying to say.
Right.
But like, it is true. They can't force you to like. If Shane needed a fucking heart or a kidney or something, they could not force me to
yes,
do
I
it.
can.
Would I do it? Yes, and it would be the wrong blood type anyway. But I would give it to him. But like that's just how it. Like if they want to look at it from a practical kind of viewpoint, where it's like, okay, well, this is what it is. All right, well, you can't force me to literally like give my body parts for this.
Right.
And the people. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, even beyond that too, like with like surveys and research, like you can't force somebody to do research for you. And what's even more messed up is we don't even do research on babies in the womb or pregnant moms. So like I don't know, like they went, so like say with COVID and everything,
Yeah.
how there was no studies done for pregnant mothers and babies in the womb, and how that affected it. Like, so you don't even want to risk those lives in that way to even understand like something that may help them.
Right.
So I don't know. That's just a thought.
Oh yeah. No, I'm glad you said that, because the same people who are super happy that they've overturned Roe v. Wade are the same people who were like, you can't make me get a shot.
Oh,
but you're
yeah.
cool. But you're cool with just telling women as a blanket statement, you can't have abortions.
Yeah,
I don't understand the disconnect.
I can't take this shot, but also you have to have that whole ass baby. Like, sorry, that's well, and then they use the same argument flip flopped. Like for guns, they like you can't ban guns. People are gonna get them. but goddamn it, you can ban abortions because that's gonna stop them magically.
Yep.
Even though
Mhm.
time and time again, like when abortion has been legalized in many places, you can see like illegal abortions obviously went down, but abortions as a whole went down. And legal abortions obviously went up because they were legal, but they met in the middle and it actually started to go down because people were getting the care that comes with it. So like instead, like Planned Parenthood is demonized by so many like
Yeah.
ultra conservative people, but they do so much more than just
Mhm.
abortion. It's like it's crazy that you walk into it and people get screamed at by Westboro Baptist Church or whoever the fuck's hanging out there,
Right.
and like called whatever. And I've seen the ones where it's like, yeah, so I got screamed at, called a whore, and all this and this, and then anyway, I don't have breast cancer, so that's cool. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
that's so
They do
fucked.
so many screenings and like so many early access like ultrasounds, you know what I mean? Like just for pregnancy itself, there's so many risks that go with it. And so the more knowledge you have, the visits that you have with your doctors, the labs, like the better you can be cared for and know how to take care of your body. And like Planned Parenthood is wonderful because they offer those a lot of times at little or no cost.
Right.
Like ultrasounds cost, I don't know, like $600, and insurance does not pay for that.
Oh wow.
So, I mean, like when I go to my prenatal visits, I have to pay for those ultrasounds, and I only get like 2 or whatever during my
Right.
pregnancy. But if I was high risk and I needed more, it doesn't pay for that. But Planned Parenthood offers those resources not just to people who don't have the funds for it, but maybe don't have access to get into a doctor. And like you see these people say, oh, well, you can, go to your visits with your OB doctor and, birth your baby and do your visits and do everything you're supposed to do. But a lot of times with these doctors, you can't even get into them for at least a month or 2 anyway.
Right, because they're so just jam packed and
they're just busy.
yeah.
So for people saying like, oh, well, you could go out of state and take care of that. Like,
Yeah,
well, who's
you
to
gotta
say that
like
they could even get you in?
you gotta
before you deliver?
schedule in a completely other state when I can't even get an appointment in my own city. Like, yeah, okay, bro.
Yeah, like that's literally what happened with the Roe part of Roe v. Wade.
Oh,
Is
okay.
she wanted to get an abortion, and it took so long for healthcare to actually come to her side that she delivered her baby.
Yeah.
And so like then people are like, oh, look, this child then could grow up and be this person and cure cancer and all those wonderful things. And it's like, yeah, maybe they could, but also maybe so could the kid down your street that doesn't have anything to eat and is malnourished, or so could the 450,000 kids in foster care, or so could the kids who are getting shot in schools.
Yeah.
Like any one of them could have done wonderful, amazing things.
Definitely.
But our world is just broken.
Yeah.
And so,
one of the things that I saw was like, okay, so you're saying the Supreme Court is not going to make it a federal issue. So are you going to now criminalize dads walking out on their pregnant wives? Or ladies, whatever. Like they're just,
right.
Oh, you're pregnant, see it. Like, because that does happen. Obviously, not a great thing, but like you're criminalizing one half of it, but are you going to actually criminalize all of it then? Or, if in the states where it's like, okay, this is a child or this is a human that you cannot kill, like, are you going to start insurance before it's born? Because if it does happen that way, like, who deals with the medical expenses after that? Like, are you going to deal with that case by case? Like, it just seems like, and one of the justices who he was like, I'm not even going to vote on this because this is insane. But he's a conservative judge, didn't want to vote on it, thinks that abortions should only be, strict issues like whatever health reasons. But he said that they shouldn't have rushed this. Like they should have done it in parts to make it a lot more of a smoother transition. Because right now there's people freaking the fuck out because they don't know if they're going to be able to do X, Y, or Z. And they don't like the fact that, the state that they were fine getting whatever care done in, like they can't now, or they don't know if they're going to be able to. So now you have people mass panic, and they fucking did it on a Friday, which is super rude. Like they just you just get to sit with this all fucking weekend, like have fun not working, and then just think about this the whole time. and stress out, and then they're probably all golfing somewhere, like all the spring court. Like, God damn it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you would like to add on, Chantel?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty doom and gloom. for
Yeah.
ya. I'm normally a very like optimistic and positive person. So this has hit me a little hard.
Yeah.
But also like my life is very involved in it. And obviously I deeply care for maternity in
Yeah.
general and access to healthcare and like I don't know, just all the things. And
Well, and
plus
that's
I'm a
like
mom,
what
I'm
you said
pregnant,
was,
so
quality of life is obviously super important. And one of the things I didn't even think about, but like, there's the argument people are like, okay, well, just, be smart about it and have sex, but like, don't have sex with protection and this and this. I was like, okay, but like, all of the resources that we have for that are non-existent. So like, you
Yeah.
can't,
Mhm.
like, even
Well, and
outside
even
of school.
still, it's not even 100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
None of the things we have are 100%. I mean, even if you were to be sterilized,
Yeah.
your chances to get pregnant still you still have a small percentage of
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Because I mean like babies don't just grow in wombs, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They
Yeah.
can grow in other areas. So
Yeah.
even if you had like unless you had everything scooped out,
Just all of it.
you
Just...
know, so yeah, like and then beyond that too, people still demonize you for going to a clinic and grabbing things like that
Yeah.
too. Like if you needed, whatever kind of protection people need, but I don't know.
That's
It's
another
something.
thing that people are like concerned with, that the other rulings that are kind of lumped in with this, that they're like, well, maybe we should look at it. Like, one of them is dealing with contraception. It was like, okay, so now you're telling me I'm gonna have to drive all the way to fucking Colorado if I want to buy condoms? Like, are you kidding me right now?
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but I don't know. It's definitely crazy shit going on, and
Yeah.
like I get where people are coming from, where there's like, oh well, it shouldn't have been like a federal thing, or like that. One of the justices, Justice Alito, said that it's not there's no historical ruling or like precedent for it. I was like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like, you got killed if you had an abortion pre-18 whatever. Like, there's not gonna be any historical
Yeah.
precedent for it. And also, the ones we do now are vastly different than the ones they ever did.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
how
Much
can you use
safer,
that
yeah.
argument? Like, it's not even the same thing. Like, it is, but it's not. And
It feels very much like we've gone back 50 years.
yeah,
Definitely.
it's
and then yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. I'm honestly just tired of living through major historical events.
yeah. I think we're all with you there. Absolutely. Shane, what you want to bring us up a little bit? Got the billboard?
Oh, you mean to do that still?
Might as well. I mean, hey.
Okay. Yeah.
This is what
The
you say
billboards.
that everybody is their favorite part of the show.
Well, yeah. So I just want to say one thing before
Oh,
I do
yeah,
this.
go ahead.
But if you don't like abortions, then don't fucking get them. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If someone else wants to get it, then leave them the fuck alone.
Mind your
dude.
own
It's none
fucking
of, it's
business.
none of your business.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. How is it directly affecting you if I go and get an abortion? Obviously, I can't do that. But if I could,
It would
and I
bother
wanted
me
to,
if you did.
how does it fucking affect you, dude? Like, just
Yeah.
fucking mind your own business, dude.
Yeah.
If I'm not fucking hurting you, then why does it matter? Sorry.
Yeah. I get He's saving that this whole time.
Dude, it just fucking blows my mind that it matters to someone else. Not even in, I get it. Like, you'd feel some type of, if my sister had an abortion, I would be a little
Yeah.
upset, but it's not my body and I wouldn't fucking hold it against her,
Yeah.
you know? So I can get that kind of bit of it, right? But like, if you're not in my family and you're not like one of my friends and
Yeah.
like, you're so far removed from me, then you doing that literally does not affect me.
Well,
And
you
if it
have
makes
no
your
idea
life-
what's going on. Like, you just
Exactly.
don't know.
And I mean, on the
Yeah.
flip side, if you make, as an adult, you make a decision that if I have this kid, I'm going to be a terrible parent, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Then thank you.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a shit fucking home with
Yeah.
terrible situations, right? I'm glad I'm here. But I mean, like, people who can make that decision and go, I'm going to be a terrible parent, I shouldn't do that, then good on you.
Yeah. I think it
Yeah,
takes
to, like,
more
know
of
your
a
limits.
person to like because that's another thing that people don't talk about, is like how intense of a decision that is. Like, that's
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to do. and people make it sound like, oh, it's convenient. See ya.
Just
Like,
another Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't, I want to go out on Friday, so
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that at all. And I mean, really, it just boils down to like, look at the person, you know what I mean? Like, and understand the support they need. And then what are you doing about it? Like, if you don't, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with it, then what are you doing about it? Like, are you supporting people?
Yeah.
Are you a foster parent? Are you donating to places that help cover for like long NICU stays? Like, do something about it then, beyond just like I believe in life.
Yeah.
You know,
Be
like,
about it.
You gotta, you have to have action beyond just words.
Yeah.
All right. This week on the Good Words.
What a smooth transition.
Hey, dude, I'm so good at this. Debuting at number 1, Proof by BTS. Isn't that Korean?
Yeah, K-pop.
Yeah, they're the Korean K-pop. Yeah.
Chantel loves
They're
her
like,
some Korean stuff.
I do love some K-pop.
Yeah.
I think they're making a movie as
Are
well.
they? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's why they're fucking number 10, dude. She's right, or number 1.
Number 1, yeah, number 1. Debuting at number 1.
All right.
Down from 1 to 2, Un Vierno Sin Ti by Bad Bunny.
All right.
Still at 3, Harry's House by Harry Styles.
Nice.
Down from 4 to 2, 12 Karat Toothache by Post Malone, which that album it's fucking trash. It's
Oh no. I thought you were gonna go the other way with that.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna hype it up.
Yeah, that album is fucking not good. So
there's one song on there with him in The Weeknd that's like an okay song. The rest of the songs are terrible. I don't understand how it's still up here.
It must be like a TikTok or something.
Oh, probably.
Gotta be. At number 5, I Never Liked You by Future. Steady at 6, Dangerous Double album, Morgan Wallen. Down from 5 to 7, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. Stop listening to this number 8 album. Stop it. Stop listening to this fucking album, dude. Nobody likes it. It's just teen angsty crybaby. Anyway, Sour, Olivia Rodrigo, number 8.
Oh.
Holy shit. Up from 35 to 9. Control by SZA.
No.
SZA.
I thought it was
SZA?
gonna be SZA. I thought it was gonna be Encanto. Like
Oh no, it's gone.
Back again.
And then
I don't know. Olivia's all right.
Yeah.
And then debuting at number. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say she had a bad shout out to the Supreme Court.
Oh
actually,
yeah,
this
she
week.
did a song
Yeah.
with Lily Allen. The Lily
Yeah,
Allen song "Fuck You," and
Oh what?
yeah, and they did a little.
So that's a clip.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then debuting at number 10, Denim and Rhinestones by Carrie Underwood. And
Same.
that ain't
That
like the
sounds
most
Very
typical
90s.
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
I'm a rhinestone cowboy. Yeah. Well, Chantel, thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely to hear your really intense and also well thought out perspective on things.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me rant. And
Yeah.
go off the rails there for a
No
little
problem.
bit.
That's
giving me the space for that.
if
I just hope to give some good perspective at
yeah.
least. You know what I mean? So
I
Definitely.
think that's important, and not all of our listeners are male, so it's good to kind of bring in the female perspective. Like I said, it's been forever since we had one, so it's nice to get that, because otherwise it's just two white dudes talking about abortion. It's like, okay, bro, so
I'm happy I could balance it out here.
heck yeah. Do you want to tell them about our friends, Shane?
Oh yeah, we want to thank our friends, the Dutch and Denver podcast, the No New Friends podcast, the Remedy Room, and Kicking It with the Kellys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then don't forget to click the link, go to all the places, review us wherever you can. If you can't, write a comment and say, this is my review, and then review us that way,
Yeah.
because that's also appreciated. Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, I've had enough.
Cool.
Peace out.
Tip your
bitches.
bartender. Oh shit, tip your bartender.